Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishwaro Guru Atmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyoma Vatvyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Om Shri Medha Dakshinamurti Swamine Namaha Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavatam Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamrita Varshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvam Anusandhadami Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshinim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunmanti Divyaistavaihi Vedais Sankapadakramopanishadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavasti Tadadgatena Manasam Pashyanti Yam Yoginaha Yasyantanna Vidhusura Suraganaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha. Namaste once again, everyone.
Pranam Guruji, namaste.
Namaste. So we are seeing the 6th sloka of the 3rd chapter. Karmendriyani sanyamya ya aste manasa smaran indriyarthan vimudhatma mityacharasa uchyate. So after listening to Krishna's teaching in the 2nd chapter, we saw that the 3rd chapter begins with Arjuna raising a doubt. Arjuna feels that in the 2nd chapter is understanding. Right? Krishna, while glorifying Jnanam as the only means for moksha, which is the highest, which is the Paramam Padam, which is the highest goal, Krishna at the same time is asking Arjuna to do karma, glorifying Jnanam as the best thing, and then say you perform karma. So naturally, Arjuna is confused as to what is best for him. Going for knowledge by taking a life of sannyasa, or attaining moksha, and of course, attaining moksha, or performing his karma, that is fight the war. Now, when Arjuna raises this question between which is better, tell me karma yoga is better, jnana yoga is better, Krishna realizes that a capsule course will not work for Arjuna. Krishna therefore enters into elaborate teaching with a once upon a time kind of phrase, Pura prokta mayanaga. I have told this long ago, once upon a time, kind of a thing. And in the process, Krishna is trying to impress upon Arjuna that what is most important for Arjuna at this stage is performance of karma action. And we have to understand this very clearly. At the present stage, Arjuna should perform karma. And he gives 3 arguments or 3 reasons, which we have seen. The first argument he gives is that by giving up actions and by merely taking to sannyasa, Arjuna, you do not get moksha or peace. He said, Sannyasanat eva, by mere renunciation, siddhim na samadhi gacchati. Therefore, one should not run away from one's karma or duties. And then to support the above argument, Krishna says that no one can remain without action even for a moment, because everyone is helplessly made to do action by the gunas born of Prakriti or Maya. So he says that there is no question of your running away from action, Arjuna, because you cannot avoid doing action. That is how God, the Maya or Prakriti has made you, nature has made you. Then the third argument he puts forth is that even if one outwardly gives up the worldly desires and actions and takes to sannyasa, but if the person has not gained sufficient viveka and vairagya, the mind will continue to dwell on the desires, which will give rise to an internal conflict leading to a split personality. Krishna calls that person as a hypocrite, a mithyachara. Therefore, Krishna's message to Arjuna is that for all these reasons, Arjuna, do not think of giving up karma. Inaction is dangerous, and therefore Arjuna should not think of sannyasa without adequate preparation. He should not think of inaction. He should only think of an active life. And what is the advantage of that? Krishna reveals in the next sloka. We will read the sloka. Yasvindriyani manasa niyamyarabhaterjuna karmendriyai karma yogam asaktasya visishyate. The anvaya of this sloka is, Hey Arjuna, tu yaha indriyani manasa niyamya asaktah karma indriyaihi karma yogam arabhate saha visishyate. So now he is getting into what exactly is karma yoga. Tu, whereas, Hey Arjuna, O Arjuna, yaha, one who, indriyani, sense organs, manasa, with the mind, niyamya, controlling or managing, asaktaha, unattached, karma indriyaihi, with the organs of action, karma yogam, the yoga of action, arabhate, takes to, saha, that one, visishyate, is far superior. So what is Krishna saying? He says, he gave 3 reasons. You can't sit quiet, and even if you have given up all actions outwardly, if your mind continues to dwell upon all the sense objects and desires, Arjuna, you will be leading as a dual life, a split personality you will be. Therefore, he says that Arjuna, the one who controlling the sense organs with the mind is unattached and takes the yoga of action. Here, yoga of action means action performed with yoga buddhi. With these organs of action is far superior. So, a person who can control his or her sense pursuits has discrimination, viveka. The control is exercised through the mind only. Five sense organs are there, eyes are there, ears are there. With the mind, one can direct these sense organs. If your eyes are seeing something which it should not see, you can either direct the eyes to close the eyelids. This command comes from the mind. Because the moment the eyes see something which should not be seen, it goes inside and it hits the mind. Mind immediately passes it on to the intellect. What the intellect does, it immediately decides. All this happens like a computer in split second, that this is something which I should not see, I should not take as an input. So immediately the intellect will order the mind to close the eyes, and the mind will order the eyelids to come down. You will stop seeing it. This is one way. The other way is, the mind may tell the eyes, you can see this, but don't register anything. That's also controlling or managing the sense organs. So here Krishna is emphasizing that the role of the mind, he says the word manasa, through the mind, implies what? Viveka, discrimination. What I should take in, what I should avoid taking in as input. And here manas can also be taken extended meaning as buddhi, the intellect, because the process which takes place whenever all these sensory inputs come into our mind, both the mind and the intellect interact, and then the decision is taken. So therefore, to control one's organs of action and the sense pursuits means having a mastery over them. It is to direct them at will. This is one of the most important qualifications, viveka, that the sadhaka must possess. We have already seen all these qualifications in Tattva Bodha. Isn't it? Sadhana chatushtaya sampatti starts with viveka, vairagya. So viveka is the most important. What is viveka? Nothing but a discriminative ability. I am now pursuing, I am on the spiritual path. I have a list of things which I need to practice, or I need to take in. There are a list of things which I should totally avoid. Whenever I am confronted with a choice, I use my viveka and make the right choice, so that all unnecessary waste things do not enter me and disturb my composure. Allows me to pursue my spiritual pursuit without any obstacle. So such a person is asakta, not attached to karma phala, the result of action. Arabhate, begins, takes to a life of karma yoga. Meaning that the person performs karma yoga as a sadhana, as a means to an end, which is moksha. You must understand, you cannot do karma yoga. You can do only karma. All our organs of action, karmendriyani, they can do action. They cannot do karma yoga. Because karma yoga is strictly an attitude with reference to the action and the result. So the person described by Krishna in this verse is one who begins doing karma with the organs of action like speaking, walking, talking, etc. When talking, speaking is the same. And whatever is to be done, he does with a proper attitude. That person is a karma yogi. Even actions to be done may be Vaidika karmas. Vaidika karma means which are enjoined by the Vedas, the rituals, etc. Or Laukika karmas consisting of all other types of activities rather. And what is the significance of this karma yoga? When a person does either a Vaidika karma or a Laukika karma, with the karma yoga attitude, asaktaha, unattached, he does not fulfill his raga dveshas. In fact, this attitude helps him to neutralize the raga dveshas. And what will happen? It will purify the mind for gaining knowledge, that is moksha. I'm just recollecting where I read. Being unattached does not mean that you do not have desires. Being unattached means you are not being controlled by your desires or the results of those actions which you do to fulfill the desires. On the contrary, you control the desires and also you have the proper attitude towards the results of action which you do for fulfilling your desires. So it is only a question when you say desireless or unattached, etc., does not mean that you don't have desires, but you are not directed by the desires in your actions. That is the difference. So your raga dveshas do not dictate how you should, what action you should take. And therefore, with a karma yoga attitude, the more and more you practice karmas with the karma yoga attitude, it will purify the mind and which will eventually lead to jnana yoga. Because if we actually look at it, even when we take Vaidika karma, rituals, prayers, etc., most of the people, they do it for fulfillment of two purusharthas, artha and kama. Isn't it? In order to gain security in life or pleasures. And what does this represent? This is nothing but fulfilling their raga dveshas. Puja Swamiji nicely says, first you pray, then you present the Lord with your petition. So there is nothing wrong with that. But you should know that it is only for fulfilling ragas and dveshas. Praying to the Lord for cure of a disease or solution to a problem is definitely appropriate. Nothing wrong with that. But if you have done everything you can do and it is not enough, you can invoke the Lord also. But what should be understood here is that all the prayers, even those which are enjoined by the Vedas, can be only for your security and pleasures, artha and kama, here or hereinafter, the next janma, whatever it is. Or if you perform the same prayers with the karma yoga attitude, They can be a means for self-purification, leading to self-knowledge, which is moksha. So two approaches you can have for doing any action, even a Vedic action. Karmas, even if performed according to dharma, is for the fulfillment of one's raga dveshas alone. That is for the sake of achievements in the form of artha, kama, securities, pleasure. Hey God, I am doing this dharma. May my family be always secure. My family abhivriddhyartam, they expand. I may have lot of progenies, putra, pautra, everything let me see. I must have a long life, healthy life. All these prayers which we see, all for artha and kama. If we reduce everything, kama, let my daughter get married, let my son get a good wife. All these are all artha or kama centric prayers. All these karmas are called kamya karmas. And the person who does this karma is called a karmi or a karmatha. In other words, one who is attached to the results of action. The person who is unattached is one who, rather than doing kamya karma, is doing the same karma for the sake of preparing the mind for knowledge. Chitta shuddhyartam. In his sankalpa, he will say, if he is in the spiritual path, he will not ask for kama, moksha, all those kind of a thing, phala purushartham, siddhyartham and all. Artha kama, dharma, moksha, dharmartha kama, moksha, phala siddhyartham, he will not ask. He will say, I am doing this sankalpa, parameshwar prityartham, lokakshemartham, chitta shuddhyartham. These are the three main aims for doing any karma. When you have that sankalpa, you are doing that karma, whether it is a Vaidika karma, puja, upasana, whatever karma you are doing with a karma yoga attitude, not for purposes of fulfilling your artha kamas. Elsewhere, Adi Shankara says, if you do with this kind of attitude, if you pray with this attitude to the order that is Ishvara, the cosmic order that is Ishvara, all other things, your security, artha, kama and all are automatically taken care of. You don't need to worry about it at all. Therefore, this prayer with a karma yoga attitude is for antakarana shuddhi. So, even though while praying thus for antakarana shuddhi and then eventually moksha, these karmas also come under the category of kamya karma, because there is a desire, I want purification of mind, I want moksha. That desire is still there. We must very carefully understand. It's a very beautiful way of looking. That's why, kamya karma does not mean having no desires. Kamya karma means those karmas with the sole intention of sole purpose of performing them for antakarana shuddhi, they are not considered to be impelled by raga dveshas. This subtle difference should be understood. On the one hand, we do a karma for fulfilling our artha kama purusharthas, which are driven by our raga dveshas. I want to buy a house. Hey Bhagavan, please bless me that I should get a good house to buy. Raga dvesha. I don't like to see the face of my neighbor. Hey Bhagavan, please ensure that today I should not see his face at all, his or her face at all. Raga Dvesha. Whereas the same karma that you do in the terms of prayers, you say for Antakarana Shuddhi, even though Antakarana Shuddhi is a desire, it is not considered to be impelled by Raga Dveshas. And any karma not impelled by Raga Dveshas, whether it is Vaidika karma or Laukika karma, it comes under Karma Yoga. So if a person thinks himself as Karta Bhokta, that is doer and enjoyer, he is referred to as what? Phalasakta, the one who is attached to the results of action. In fact, there is one more subtle thing that we need to understand. For a karma yogi, there is really no such thing as a laukika karma. There is only karma. The word laukika karma is merely a verbal expression for an action that is not Vedic ritual. Because a yogi, for a karma yogi, all action is nothing but prayer to Ishvara or Lord. The order that is there here in the creation is nothing but Ishvara. Once you recognize this fact, any action you perform, which is in keeping with Ishvara, becomes a prayer. Everything is an offering to the Lord. It becomes a prayer. Therefore, there is nothing for that is called a Laukika or Vaidika for a Karma Yogi. The words being used only to distinguish non-ritualistic action from ritualistic actions. Since any action that is keeping with Dharma or keeping with the order of Ishvara becomes a form of prayer, the action performed by one who is not attached to the results of action is considered not to be impelled by one's raga dveshas. Actually, this expression being unattached to the results of action, we have seen this earlier also. Karmanyevadikaraste. This expression is the source of much confusion because no one performs any action without expecting results. So therefore, the word asakta used in this sloka, that means one who is unattached, has to be understood as a technical word, which means ones whose actions, whether Vaidika or Laukika, are not based purely on Raga Dvesha. Raga is always in terms of something desirable that is away from you, and Dvesha is in terms of something you want to avoid or get rid of. And actions not based on Raga Dvesha are considered to be in keeping with Dharma and are meant for Antakarana Shuddhi. This is how the whole structure of the Shastra message is. Thus, in this verse, asakta refers to a person who enjoys a certain control. Well, otherwise, what will happen? Once Raga Dveshas alone will decide what one should do. Or person will join everything, a lot of fancy things are happening, or he will do whatever comes to his mind. Convenience instead of what is right becomes the rule. And many times the actions also may be against Dharma. On the other hand, A karma yogi has got certain control over his organs of actions and also his sense organs. Swamiji uses the word certain because even though the person is still a karma yogi, he or still is still an ajnani, one who is ignorant with reference to the self. Therefore, even though he is a karma yogi, this person may have some omissions and commissions, and there is a certain degree of control he has. Therefore, when his objective is antakarana shuddhi, a karma yogi does what has to be done. So therefore, even though the purification of the mind can be termed technically as a karma phala, it is not considered as karma phala in the usual sense of the term. So having understood all these points, what is the ideal ashrama according to Krishna? Krishna starts telling Arjuna by saying that, Arjuna, it is the grihastha a life in society where there is scope for contribution so that I can cleanse myself. That is the ideal ashrama for you. Because grihastha has got a beauty of enabling both things to be done. It's an ideal ashrama for fulfilling arthakama purusharthas. Parallelly, it is also an ideal ashrama for service to the society, for indulging in dharma purushartha, reaching out activities. In fact, it is the grihastha who is responsible for taking care of brahmacharis, vanaprasthas, and also sannyasis. It is only grihastha who can earn. Grihastha who is permitted to accumulate wealth, but accumulate wealth not for his 7 generations. You can earn, accumulate wealth so that you can use that for the benefit of the society, the other sections, other 3 ashramas of the society. Therefore, Shastra's focus, Shastra's prescription for grihastha ashrama is not merely for arthakama. Arthakama is there, but that is only secondary or subsidiary. Whereas even getting married, the people have no understanding today why they are getting married. The only thing that they have in mind is young couples, arthakama only in marriage. Because there is no exposure to the scriptures. Nobody has taught them, nor they have shown any interest in learning anything. I'm telling about general. Huh? There may be exceptions. I accept that. Ramayana, Valmiki Ramayana, there is a sloka. Iyam Sita Mama Sutta Sahadharmacharitava Pratichachainam Bhadrante Panim Grihishva Panina. Janaka is giving Sita to Rama. He says, Iyam Sita Mama Sutta. This is Sita, my child. Sahadharmachari tava. She is your Sahadharmacharini. All dharmic actions which are ordained in the Shastras, she is going to be your partner in that. All these things our children should understand. Why they are getting married? They have a much larger responsibility rather than just raising children and family and taking care of them. They have a much larger responsibility towards the society, each one of us. There is some disturbance coming. Somebody has unmuted, I think. So your wife is called Sahadharmacharini, which means one gets married not for primarily fulfilling Arthakama desires. They are there, but they are secondary. Primarily, the marriage is for primarily fulfilling service to the society, my contribution to the society. Parallelly, I also fulfill my personal desires in a legitimate manner. And what should he do in the society? What type of life he should lead? He says, here in this sloka, Krishna says, Indriyani manasa niyamya. As a grihastha, as an active person in the society, let him first regulate his sense organs. Even though a grihastha is given ample freedom to fulfill his arthakama. Artha means what? Security, money, possessions, house, status, etc., name, fame. They're all security. And kama means what? Pleasures, entertainment, etc. So we must note, Shastra gives freedom to fulfill arthakama desire only in grihastha not in sannyasa ashrama. Because sannyasa ashrama is exclusively meant for fulfilling moksha pursuit only. Therefore, let a grihastha fulfill his worldly desires, but under one condition. And what is that? Indriyani niyamya, by regulating the sense organs. Which means what? Without violating dharma, morality. One can enjoy physical pleasures, sensory pleasures, intellectual pleasures, emotional pleasures. You want to go to a movie occasionally, enjoy? Nothing wrong. But that is not meant for a sannyasi. Therefore, you fulfill that, but before fulfillment, ask a question. Is it legitimate? Is it moral? Or is it excess? In fact, one of the most tragic things that is happening today in all our families, most of our families, again, I wouldn't like to generalize, many families, the evening time, 6 to 7 is Sandhya time. That time, people are supposed to light the lamp before the altar at home, sit and pray 15 minutes, half an hour, offer prayers to the Lord. This is what we are supposed to do. We are supposed to focus our mind only on auspicious things, Shubhakaryam. Those days when people had joint families, elders in the family used to ensure that this happens. Today, what is happening? 6 o'clock, 6:30, you switch on the TV and there are these soap operas, these serials where all sorts of, I would call, crying and calling names to each other and what I should say, scheming, all this, everything which completely disturbs and has the potential to destroy your mind is what people are exposing themselves to. Where is the question of niyamya? Where is the question of indriyani niyamya? So therefore, in fact, even a legitimate fulfillment of a desire should be within moderate limits. A lady should not say, oh, this is, I have lit the lamp and I am going to offer prayers, and 2 hours from 6 to 8, she is praying. The family is waiting for her to prepare the dinner and serve it. So even legitimate fulfillment of a desire should be within moderate limits. As it is said, in Tamil, of course, there, Adhigamanal Amrutam Nanju, something like that, right? Nectar, even nectar is in excess is poison. The translation, I think. So, what is the message? Even while fulfilling the legitimate pleasures within limit, one should always remember that Artha Kama should not be primary goal. Dharma should be primary goal. Because Puja Swamiji often says, we are all consumers for the whole of our life, always taking from the society. Grihastha ashrama is an ideal ashrama, and in fact, I would say ideal ashrama to convert ourselves into contributors. The goal should be, I should contribute more to the society than I have consumed. This is what is Dharma Purushartha. And such a person is called a Dharmik Purusha. Therefore, regulating, avoiding indulgence, avoiding sensory excesses, you have to control your sense organs through what? Manasa, Vivekena, by discrimination. What is right, what is wrong, what is moderate, what is excess. The intellect should be able to assess and judge and decide. This is what is called regulating the mind. In one of the earlier classes, we saw the example of a river. If you suppress the flow, it will lead to flooding and destruction. At the same time, if the flow of water is not stopped, water may be wasted, it may just flow into the ocean and become salty water, not fit for use. Therefore, the correct approach is to regulate the water flow by constructing dams so that the flow can be channelized as per our requirement. This example, you must bring it to your mind always. And Vedanta works on the same principle. Construct dams for the flow of thoughts and then direct the sense organs appropriately by using Viveka discrimination. Adi Shankara in Viveka Chudamani talks of 2 types of Viveka. Dharma, Adharma Viveka and Atma, Anatma Viveka. Both these Viveka, of course, in the context of Karma Yoga, what is more important for us is Dharma, Adharma Viveka. At this stage, we need not worry about Atma, Anatma Viveka. That will come in the Jnana Yoga stage. So this Dharma, Adharma Viveka is what is said here as Indriyani Manasa Niyamya, controlling the sense organs with the mind. And having mastered or managed the sense organs, the Jnanendriyani, what should he do? Karma Yogam Arabhate, one should take to Karma Yoga. A Grihastha, a person who is active in the society, should take to Karma Yoga. And what is Karma Yoga? Krishna just begun. We are going to see it in detail hereafter. Krishna is just giving the introduction. He should take to Karma Yoga, he says. Karma Yogam Arabhate. And what is the most important aspect of Karma Yoga? Krishna says, Asaktaha, without getting attached to anything. So whatever he uses with a mastery. He does not consider anything that he uses as an end in itself. Whatever he uses is a means. According to the Shastra, even Grihastha is not an end in itself. Getting a wife or husband is not an end in itself. because both are not permanent. Unfortunately, we don't understand all these things. And for most of us, Grihastha has become an end in itself. And that is why what happens today, once you cross a certain age and still are in the Grihastha, you are mentally a wreck, physically a wreck. Because you have not prepared for the next stage of life. You took everything for granted. Okay, I've got a wonderful wife, I've got wonderful children, they will take care of me. Who takes care of you ultimately these days? You end up in some senior citizen home, and some person whom you have never even seen in your life, you don't even know his character. He is taking care of you. He is giving you a bath. He is giving you food and everything. Your own children, the thing you thought, people who you thought that they will take care of you, they are all earning in dollars sitting somewhere in foreign countries. They will send you any amount of money that you want. But at that age, you don't want money. You already have enough. What you want is somebody to care for you. But that's what is happening. You see all around. I've seen it in my own family. People, when they are the right age, by the time they retire, they should start preparing both psychologically and physically for the next stage. Know for sure that your physique is going to get apakshiyate. It is going to become weaker and weaker and weaker. You sit down, you won't be able to get up easily unless two people lift you up. Knee pain, back pain, neck pain, all pains will start. So one needs, and similarly, the worst thing is psychological trauma. Oh, there is nobody for me. Nobody cares for me. So all these things we can go on talking about it. The point is that we take Grihastha as an end in itself. That attitude we must change. We must look at Grihastha as something which needs to end. Because neither I am permanent nor my wife is permanent. If we think that we are going to live together eternally, it's a big mistake. So by holding on to each other, we are not going to retain them. Therefore, I have two options. Either I have to grow out of my need for family members. And if I don't grow out, one fine day, whether you call it fine or non-fine day, Yamadharma Raja will forcibly snatch me away from them. Therefore, before Yamadharma Raja chooses to snatch, I decide to grow out of them. And when Yamadharma Raja comes to take me away, I tell him, there is no need to force me. In many films they say, the hero is going to be arrested by the police and they want to handcuff him. He will say, no need to handcuff. I will come. I am ready to come with you. Similarly, you tell Yamadharma Raja, don't use all your what is that rope and all that, put it around my neck and drag me away. You need to do that if I am not willing to come. I am ready to come. I have completed all my responsibilities in the Grihastha and mentally I am already in the Sannyasa ashrama. I have nothing to lose. This is called detachment, growing out of anything that I use. And this is called asakta. Such a person who follows karma yoga is visishyate. He excels. He excels whom? Krishna says he is superior to a sannyasi, because here the topic is comparison between a grihastha and a sannyasi. So a karma yogi grihastha is superior to a sannyasi who chooses sannyasa without getting maturity and gets into all sides of trouble, like we saw in the last class. Neither he is able to fulfill his worldly desires, nor he is able to spend his lifetime in Vedanta, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Because sannyasa ashrama is wonderful if we love Vedanta. You have all the time in the world to pursue Vedanta, Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana. Sannyasa ashrama will be horrible and a torture if you do not love Vedanta. Therefore, a grihastha who is a karma yogi is far superior to a mithyachara, an immature sannyasi talked about in the previous words. Now, Krishna highlights one more important aspect of karma yoga. Niyatam kuru karma tvam karmajyayo hya karmanaha sharira yatra pichate na prasiddheda karmanaha. 8th sloka. Isn't it? 8th sloka. Correct. Anvaya is tam niyatam karma kuru. Hi akarmanah karma jyayah. Akarmanah te sharira yatra api chana prasiddhed. Again, he is emphasizing why one should do karma. Tvam, you, niyatam, what is to be done. Karma kuru, do action. He, because akarmanaha, when compared to inaction, karma, action, jayah, superior. Akarmanaha, due to inaction, te, your, sharira yatra, maintenance of the body, api, even, cha, and na prasiddhet, would become impossible. So this is what again Krishna is emphasizing. As I just now said, preparing yourself physically and preparing yourself mentally for your old age. And this is action for the maintenance of the body is the most important thing. Many people, when they are afflicted with all these pains and things like that and all, they will avoid walking. They will avoid climbing stairs because it pains. They want to avoid pain. But what will happen? Whatever little karma action you are able to do, that also you will lose the ability to do those actions. So Krishna says, do action that is to be done because action is superior to inaction. And due to inaction, even the maintenance of your body would not become possible, or it would become impossible. So in the previous sloka, Krishna glorified Karma Yoga by saying that Karma Yoga is ideal and is best for majority. Now from this 8th sloka onwards, Krishna wants to talk about what is Karma Yoga. We have seen various aspects of Karma Yoga in different contexts, isn't it? We have also at one stage talked about 3 types of karma: Sattvikam karma, Rajasam karma, and Tamasam karma. We also briefly discussed Panchamahayajnas. We have also seen a definition of Karma Yoga as doing proper action with proper attitude. All these here and there, something we have seen. And in the 2nd chapter, Krishna also briefly described Karma Yoga as what? Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phalaheturbu ma te sangostva karmani. So the 47th sloka and 48th sloka, what he said? Yogastha guru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. So in these two sloka of the second chapter, Karma Yoga was summarized by Krishna. Now, in the third chapter, the ideas conveyed in these two slokas, Krishna is going to elaborately discuss from this verse, verse number 8 up to verse number 20. Therefore, this chapter is famous or well known for this particular section alone. And because of this particular section, this chapter itself is called Karma Yoga. Therefore, the portion starting from this 8th verse of this chapter is the most important. And as I said earlier also, Gita teaching given by Krishna is only based on Vedic teaching. Krishna doesn't come up with his own theories and his own brand of Vedanta. And that is what many Acharyas today are doing. Their teaching has no bearance to what the Veda says. Many Acharyas depend upon the teachings in the Purana or teachings in, the Bhagavatam, etc. and all that. And they claim that it is Vedanta. And that is why they get confused about all other, schools of philosophy. And Veda itself has talked about Karma Yoga in the Karma Kanda section. And one mantra we saw in one of the earlier classes of Ishavasya Upanishad, which is and in fact there is one more mantra of Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. These two mantras are the basis for this third chapter rather. Ishavasya Upanishad, we saw the mantra Kurvanne Veha Karmani Jiji Vishechatam Samah Evam Tvayi Nanyate Toste Nakarma Lipyate Nare. This we saw in one of the earlier classes. Then Brihadaranyaka, there is a mantra Tametam Vedanu Vachanena Brahmana Vividishanti Yagyena Dhanena Tapasa Nashakenaita Meva Viditva Munir Bhavati. These are two mantras. Of course, we are not going into the mantras explaining, but these two mantras are the basis for the entire Karma Yoga. And Krishna is also talking based on that. So what is Karma Yoga is the question. So we need to first understand broadly what Karma Yoga is in general terms. And then we will see the slokas proper. Okay. So in the second chapter, we briefly discussed, which you can recollect, Karma Yoga consists of two portions. One is karma and another is yoga. These are two words, karma and yoga. Karma means proper action. So one of the criteria for Karma Yoga is that the action must be proper action. What is proper, we will see later. Okay. But here what we have to note is karma does not mean any action, but karma refers to proper action. And the second part of Karma Yoga is yoga. And the word yoga means what? Proper attitude. So proper attitude towards the action, and not only action, but also a proper attitude towards the results of the action, because that is more important. That is called, that proper attitude towards the action and the result is called yoga. So I think I will stop here, because then I will go into more details. We will continue in the next class. Okay. I'll say the prayers. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mama. Namaskaram. Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you,
Namaskar.
Guruji.
Thank you so much, Guruji. Namaskaram.
Those who have not registered for Viveka Chudamani but would like to do, please register.
Good.
Hari Om, Guruji.
Not compelling anybody, huh? Your own choice. Hari Om.
Namaskaram, Mama. I was traveling, so missed a few classes
Abadiya,
last 3-4 weeks.
catch up with
Yes.
the video.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Good. Right. So
Thank you, Guruji.
Hariji is back in today's class.
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you.
Yes. What is your question, Hariji? You raised your hand.
Hari Om, Guruji.
Hari Om.
Guruji, why do I've got a couple of questions here. Why do we? Why does Krishna talk about inaction in this chapter? Because in the verse 5, he is very clearly telling that the qualities of Prakriti we will helplessly act by virtue of the qualities born of Prakriti. So the question of inaction doesn't come at all. Even if I want to be inactive, I cannot, because my gunas will force me to act. I will helplessly act.
Yes. So what Krishna is trying to, because in the first chapter and also in the second chapter we saw, Arjuna has got different ideas. Number one, he does not want to fight the war.
Yes.
Number two, he wants to run away. And go on to take sannyasa and all that. He wants to completely, Arjuna thinks like any layman, that if he doesn't fight war, it means he is not entering into action. And taking to sannyasa means that I am going to be, because what is happening is, when you understand, if you don't understand sannyasa proper, sannyasa talks about giving up all karmas. Even the karmas which are ordained by the Vedas, which a person takes a pledge to follow throughout his life by when he takes this Upanayana. That also given up. Then one of the indications of a person up to Vanaprastha is having the shika. That also is removed. Then a sannyasi cannot go near Agni. So sannyasi cannot cook on his own. So cooking action is also not possible. So a person may think that say sannyasi actually is very happy state. He doesn't need to do anything. People will feed him. People will clothe him. Everything he will get without asking. He is a happy state of affairs. This kind of a misunderstanding could be there. This is Krishna's assumption. Could be there in Arjuna's mind when he is talking about not fighting the war and running away and all that. So Krishna is now trying to first of all emphasize the fact, Arjuna, that's why the three reasons he gave, three arguments. Don't think that by running away, you are going to avoid any action. You will be doing, even as a sannyasi, some action you will be doing. So don't have this misunderstanding that by becoming a sannyasi, you will be free from action. Whether it is this action or that action you will have to do. The second thing is that and this is because by nature, by Maya, you will be forced to do the action. Even for a moment, you cannot sit quiet. Some part of your body, even if you don't externally doing anything, whatever you are eating, action, digestion is going on inside. Blood flow is going on throughout your body. What is that? That is action only. It may not be a voluntary action on your part, but that is an action. So you cannot be remaining without action. So he just wants to make it very clear. Don't think of inaction at all, because inaction is unnatural. Only a dead body can be inactive. Nothing else can be inactive. Everything will be active. Even all jivas have to be active. Even a tree, a plant are active rather. So that is what he wants to emphasize, that Arjuna, don't think of inaction at all. Think only of action. Now in the action, what action is a proper action? What action, how it is to be performed is the karma yoga. So here he is pointing out, action is better than inaction, and action with karma yoga, at a proper action with karma yoga attitude is better than any action without that karma yoga attitude or actions driven by raga dveshas. They are inferior to actions which are not driven by raga dveshas. So this is the differences or the development which Krishna is doing to make Arjuna understand the importance of in this chapter. Does that answer your question?
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. Guruji, one more. This question, it has been in my mind since long time. What actually we mean by Antakarana?
Antakarana Shuddhi means what? Very simply, getting away from your raga dveshas. All your actions, when they are driven by raga dveshas, they result in all impurities. What are they? Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. Correct? These are all what? Antakarana Ashuddhis. They are all, where are they? What is the seat of Kama, Krodha and all? It is your mind. Isn't it? Basic seat is the mind. And it impacts the intellect also. In fact, there are 4 Antakarana. We talk of 4. Manas, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara. Correct?
Yeah.
When these impurities attack you because of your raga dvesha pursuits, what happens? All 4 get affected rather. All these 4 Antakarana instruments get affected. Manas get affected. Buddhi gets affected, because once the manas is affected, Buddhi cannot do its job. Chittam gets affected. Chittam is basically the memory faculty. You can't recall when you are agitated. Your mind is agitated. Your recalling ability goes down. And Ahankara steps in, makes you do more things, more wrong things. How can that happen to me? How can he say this to me? All these kind of things, Ahankara will step in. So all these activities all are based on what? Because your actions were driven by raga dveshas. You did certain action because you had a desire to do that, to achieve something. You got it, you got very elated. And that actually, when you did some action and you got what you desired, it's further strengthened your ahankara. Oh, I am a great man. I can do whatever I want. I have achieved this. I am a great man. Ahankara is further, instead of getting diluted, it becomes reinforced. Or on the contrary, if the action you have done with a certain result, you don't achieve it, what happens? Krodha. You sat in an examination, wanted to be the first, the topper. You didn't get the top slot, but somebody else got it. First Krodha because you didn't get it. Then what is that?
Disappointment.
Not disappointment. There is a jealousy. The other person got it.
Okay.
You are jealous of the other person. So if you sit back and analyze what is happening in our lives, why we are unhappy, what is leading to all this antakarana ashuddhi, is because all our actions are being driven by raga dveshas. So what is here Krishna's idea is that get out of this raga dvesha pursuit. Don't be driven by raga dveshas. And once you actually consciously, with full awareness, try to get away from the raga dvesha pursuits, what is the other result of all the actions? Antakarana shuddhi. Automatically it happens. So that is what is antakarana shuddhi is. As you go do all your karmas without any attachment, that is attachment for the results, and also proper action, dharmic actions with no attachment to the results. Or you can say attitude, proper attitude is accepting whatever result comes as Ishvara Prasada. Over a period of time, continuously you practice all your karmas, whether it is Sandhya Vandana karma, you do your puja, whatever karma you do, even a Laukika karma, if you do with this attitude, you will automatically realize the purity, because all your this kama, krodha, lobha, moha, all are leaving you. You have not fed them for quite some time. They have become starved and they will look for other places to go and feed themselves. They will leave you. This is the process which takes place. And that is what we call Arthakarana Shuddhi or Chitta Shuddhi or purification of the mind. So it is a sadhana one needs to practice. Only way to do is Karma Yoga. And we will see in detail in the next few classes what this Karma Yoga, how Krishna defines this whole Karma Yoga is. Everyone, it doesn't take any money, it doesn't take anything, it doesn't even require any other person to join you. Karma Yoga, you can decide to practice on your own. It is just a change of your orientation, change of your attitude, change of the way of thinking, change in the way of your responding to all external stimuli, inputs, other people, whether they are close or they are not close. How do you respond to all those people? That is what is Karma Yoga is all about. And this is a guarantee. You practice this for some time, all these things will leave you and go away. We keep feeding them, they keep growing in us, all these impurities. That's what happens.
Guruji,
Thank you very much,
other,
Guruji. Thank you
in
very
a-
much. Namaskar.
in other words, can I say that when I am talking about Karma Yoga, I am trying to work on my gunas because I am helplessly acting because of my guna.
One way you can say, no, you are not helpless.
Yeah,
We'll talk about all that later.
yeah,
You see, there are 3 gunas. Every
Yeah.
guna has got a characteristic.
yeah,
Tamo guna makes you lazy, makes you avoid all kind of work.
yeah,
Sattva guna makes you totally active, whether right or wrong, you are always active. Sattva guna takes you away from Rajo guna and Tamo guna. Sattva guna is all dharmic way of doing things.
yeah,
So what you have to do as a human being in your spiritual pursuit, your aim should be that I must actually increase the component of Sattva guna in me and reduce the component of Tamo guna and Rajo guna. You cannot live without all the 3 gunas. All 3
yeah,
gunas are necessary. But what is predominant you should decide. For some people, even after retirement, they are looking for some consultancy, some job, part-time job and all that. Rajoguna is predominant. They also always want to earn, the work and earn, work and earn. You ask them to sit quietly in the sofa for half an hour and do some meditation, they won't be able to do. 99% people, I'm telling you, are like that. Rajoguna is predominant. Whereas in the spiritual path, if you are going to understand what Bhagavad Gita says, what our scripture says, what Vedanta says, increase the component of Sattva Guna, and it has got lot of components. Right from eating, what you are eating should be Sattva Guna based products only. That is why sannyasis and all Mahatmas, they avoid things like, this onion and garlic, etc. Because they are all Rajoguna and Tamoguna Pradhana. They totally avoid even pickles and things like that and all, which are very, very hot, they avoid. So we will talk in the 17th chapter. Krishna talks about what are all the foods which are Sattva Pradhana and all that. We will see all those later. But what is important is all this is a package. How you can do Karma Yoga? By increasing Sattva Guna, by looking at every aspect of your actions. Be very, very aware of whenever you are doing something, whether this is fitting into my scheme of things or not. If it is not, don't do it. Keep it out. Not for me. That's how it is. So we can, this is a lot of things involved in this rather, but you can take it as, one of the aim you should do is how I increase my Sattva Guna in my life, which is possible. It is not that fixed, quantity of gunas.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay. Yes, Anjali ji, what's your question?
Yeah, Namaste Guruji. Guruji, in true Grihastha marriages are meant for not for fulfilling the artha and kamas, but for the service to purpose of service to the society. So what kind of service to the society is anticipated here? Does Krishna talks about in detail further? On the other way, one class of the people we see, they do only service to the society. So can they be called as karma yogi?
No. Karma Yoga, there are a lot of other aspects involved. There are people who do service to the society with an intention that they should get respect in the society. They should earn fame and all that, right? That is not service. That is still driven by Arthakama only. So we cannot just say, just because somebody is going someplace and doing poor feeding, service to the society, means that he is a karma yogi. With what attitude he is doing it is more important.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of things involved when we talk of a karma yogi, because today we see, I am doing service to the society. I have actually donated 15 fans to a temple, right? Service to the society. A lot of people come to the temple. They don't have fans. So I have brand new fans. I bought and donated. What I do, in every fan, in the blades I write, donated by Ganapathy, Acharya Raghu Ganapathy, donated by Acharya Raghu Ganapathy of Aavignidhi or Arsa Vigyana Nidhi. Every blade of the fan in bold red letters I write. So that whoever sees the fan should know that I am the person who has donated. Is that Karma Yoga?
No.
Purpose of donation is I should get some advertisement. People should recognize me as, oh, he's a great man, he has donated. That is not. Some people, they give tube light, and on the tube light they will paint their name. The light will not come, only the name will be there. Such people are there. You can see them all over the place. But when we talk of service to the society, it is Nishkama Karma. I am not expecting anything. In fact, I won't even reveal who I am when I am serving. I am serving only for my purpose, not for the society's purpose. In fact, in olden days, there was not much of a need like the society today in urban and metropolitan cities have got organized in such a way that there is a very clear distinction between rich and poor, and it is widening rather. So the rich people have got a very captive audience of poor people to do service to the society, right? But in olden days, this kind of a thing was not there. Our society was a very, very harmonious society rather. Everybody was living together. They learned to supplement each other's efforts. So what service that you can, even otherwise also you are doing service. So some of the things that they will do is they will cook at home, husband and wife, and before they eat, they will go out and see if there are any travelers or anybody who they can invite for food. That is why those people were called Atithi. Atithi means a person who comes to your place without appointment. It is not that you invite the person, tomorrow you come to my house for dinner. He is not an Atithi. The Atithi is one who suddenly comes up and says, give me food. I am hungry. And that Atithi was considered to be Bhagavan himself coming and asking for food. So the food was offered to him as a prayer to Bhagavan, not as some obligation or social service, or I am fulfilling somebody, not to go around and say, today I actually gave food to so many people, not for that. So the attitude was totally different in the Vedic society. Today we have come far away from that. So social service also, we must understand with what kind of an attitude, what kind of an expectation that social service is being done. If it is done with if it is driven by any type of raga dvesha, then that is not karma yoga. This we have to understand very clearly.
Yeah. So that will come in elaborately later.
Yeah, that will come in the other slokas. All karma yoga, what are all the aspects, he will be, Krishna will be describing in the next 12 slokas. We'll see all of that. We'll see in more detail. Yeah.
Okay, Guruji. Thank you.
Hari Om. Thank you. Any other question? Nothing. Can we close the session?
Thank you, Guruji.
Hari Om. Thank you
I
very
had a
much.
question, but then that got answered while you were answering other participants. So that's okay.
Okay. No problem.
First one, I have a question.
Yeah.
If we try to model our we are always looking for role models to inculcate whatever principles our Purvika people, So in that context, I was thinking Tyagaraja Swami, Karnataka Sangeetam, he's written, 80,000 kirtanas and all. So when he all written in praise of Lord Rama, but he in most of the kritis he's begging for, hey, why are you, hey, Rama, you're not doing anything for me, and that type of thing. So I was wondering, in this context, Karma Yoga discussion, how would you class him? I mean, was he doing Nishkarma without Sangatvam? He was doing his karma or not? So what do you think he was?
Swami was a saint, right?
Yeah.
When we are talking about Karma Yoga, see, even as I said, there is no harm in asking for all things that you want to ask. Where Karma Yoga differs is that when you ask for something from Bhagavan, for example, let's say you give me a lot of money, Bhagavan. You are praying to Bhagavan, give me a lot of money. Okay, just giving you an example. But what happens? The job which you are having, which was earning some decent money, is also gone. You are removed from service. Now, if you are not having a Karma Yoga attitude, you will go to Bhagavan and complain. I asked you to give me money, and whatever money I was getting also, you have taken away. You are a useless Bhagavan. I am not going to pray to you at all. The other thing is, other attitude is, hey Bhagavan, I asked you for money. But you have taken it away, even the job which I had. I'm sure that you know better than I am. Maybe this is the method way you want to reward me, you want to guide me to some different direction. Because when I ask for something, I may be very limited in my capacity to ask or capability to ask. You are Sarvajna, you know everything. So I accept whatever you are given, even the loss of my job, as a prasada from you as a result of my prayer. That is the karma yoga attitude. And I don't become, desperate. Oh my God, my job is lost and things like that and all. If you have that kind of a mature thinking, then that is karma yoga attitude. Now we do not know whether Saint Tyagaraja, I am not, I am not, I am not a great, I am a Carnatic music enthusiast. I like to listen, but the meanings and all that, mostly they are in Telugu. I won't understand the meaning. But if anywhere he has said that, whatever you do for me, I will accept it, then that is a karma yoga attitude. That is what makes a huge difference between karma yoga, because the proper action can be good, because for a grihastha, earning money or earning wealth, as I told you, is not an improper action. It's a proper action, because if I want to earn money and do good for the society, construct an hospital, construct a free hospital where people can come and take treatment, or construct a school or things like that, and all so many things, like all Mahatmas and Swamijis, Chinmayananda, Dayananda Saraswati, whom I know rather, they have all done, rather Swami Shivananda, they have all done various things. Fine, no problem. As a grihastha, karma yoga doesn't say don't do that. But you, for that matter, you say karma yoga, I am helping all people, so I set up some bars and also some, brothels and all that. That is not karma yoga, because that is improper thing. So if you are doing proper things, your action is divided, is focused towards proper things. Karma yoga allows for that. But where the difference comes is, but whenever the result of what you are doing comes, what is the attitude with which you receive the result? That attitude depends upon whether you are going to be happy, unhappy, miserable, desperate, what you are going to do next. So Krishna will keep on saying that this asakta hai, unattached, more importantly to the results of action. Because normally, if you see, we are not attached that much to the action. Action we do because we expect certain results to come, and that's why we do the action, isn't it? So the attachment is to the results more rather than to the action. So that is the most important discriminating factor. What is your attitude to the results of action or results of your prayer? I'll put it that way. That's how we have to understand. Yeah.
Yeah. So when it comes to writing Kritis, there is an aspect to Tyagaraja Swami when he wrote, he was enjoying writing it, and but then so one wonders whether was it a selfish act. But at the same time, we are all able to enjoy his writings today. We are able to listen to his music. So the entire, the whole population is able to enjoy the fruits of his labor. So I was wondering, so there is an aspect which is selfish aspect when you're doing something for your own good, you're doing something. But it also, there is a secondary aspect where there is a resultant that which is beneficial to the whole society also.
See, the way I would look at Tyagaraja Swami is that he was so immersed in bhakti that his ahankara, his ego was totally diluted. When the ego is totally diluted, that means you have realized yourself one with the Lord. You can give any name to the Lord as Rama, Krishna, whatever name you want to give, you can give. But the fact is that the individuality has merged with the totality. And that is the state of moksha rather. So from that analysis, if I analyze Tyagaraja Swami's works or his prayers or his songs, from that angle and his life, if we understand, he is a Mukta Purusha. So that is how I would probably understand Tyagaraja Swami, even though I have not read much about his life. I have not read much about it. People will all say about so many saints, he neglected his wife and neglected his family and things like that and all. That is very, very natural rather, because for them, wife and family is primary. For Jnani, his wife and family are secondary. For them, Lord is primary, the cosmic order is primary. So from that angle, I will certainly say he was a Mukta Purusha. So
Yeah.
that is how, I mean, see, here the whole thing we have to understand is this ego is what is the villain of the piece. This ahankara. So how I am going to dilute that ahankara, what I am going to use to dilute that ahankara is what is the, what we have to focus on. Once that is taken care of, everything else automatically falls in place. And all our
You mentioned
problems
Ragadvesha.
are because of ahankara only.
Okay.
That's
I mean, the same context, we can extend the same kind of rationale to scientists who are pursuing, like they're
yes,
trying to,
absolutely, absolutely. When they are doing it, totally involved in that, they have no that self-aggrandizement kind of a thing, doing it for the public good. They are rishis and munis. In fact, we say the other way around. The rishis and munis of yore were the scientists of today. They were scientists because they are what research they did into these scientists are researching into the outside world. Those people researched into the inside world, the world of what constitutes us, the individual. They researched into that and came out with these findings. So those rishis, munis, they are all scientists only rather. That's what we call them. Yeah. Okay. Right. Hari Om. Yes,
Hari Om.
Hariji. One more.
Guruji, for me, Saint Tyagaraja or Saint Tukaram or even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they are all people who have given leadership for the Bhakti movement in India, in Bharat. It is just like the Renaissance in Europe, though we have not been taught about this with Abhang and other things. They have they have paved a huge way for the Renaissance in India.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and which unfortunately we have not been taught into schools, which we are supposed to know about.
That is true, very true. But that's a different topic. I mean, what is happening today, we can go on talking about it. See, instead of looking out and looking, I personally believe, just look at myself, what I need to do. That's all.
Yeah.
Because beyond that, we can't do anything rather. And if we can set an example, even if one person gets inspired by what I do, I am happy that, there is some kind of a recognition for what I am doing. That's all we can maximum, look for rather. Eventually, I look at myself, I am getting into a stage where I am going to have all the problems which I have seen other old people go through rather. I am just trying to find out if there is a solution. What is the solution? If I understood the solution well, how best I should actually apply the solution to myself so that I don't undergo all the traumas and difficulties and all. My prarabdha will not leave me. If my prarabdha says that I need to, I will get certain terminal disease in my life, that will come. But disease coming is not the issue. How I manage, how I react, how I respond to that situation is what is under my control. So I have to make myself mentally, physically prepared for that situation. That is all I am trying to do. And I personally felt that this Vedanta teaching helps me to a very great extent, especially Bhagavad Gita, this karma yoga with attitude, right actions and all. They are all real sadhanas which one can practice and one can prepare oneself for that stage, which eventually everybody is going to face, because we don't know what is there in our prarabdha. So the idea is to manage it rather than trying to change it. It's changing we can't do rather. Little bit maybe here and there by our prayers and all, but which is prabala prarabdha we can't change. I've seen my father-in-law till 80 years, he was perfectly okay. Then slowly this Parkinson's disease started coming. And then it worsened and worsened and worsened. 10 years, last 10 years was the most traumatic years of his life. Such an active person, intelligent person, is the head of the chemistry department in Pune University. All that, all accolades were there, and very simple person, all that, he never had any this thing. But his prarabdha karma was there. He had to get afflicted with this Parkinson's disease at the end of his life. And the end was very, very painful. Pathetic and painful. So the thing is, we have to anticipate such a thing and prepare for the worst. Nothing happens, well and good. But if something happens, mentally we should not pass on that our mental trauma to people around us. That's all. Physically, we can give them all troubles. There's no problem, because if I cannot walk, somebody will have to hold my hand and make me walk, right? But what I should not transfer is my mental troubles, my mental trauma, I should not transfer to anybody else. I am feeling miserable does not mean I make everybody else around me feel miserable. That I should avoid rather. So for that, the first thing is I should myself not feel miserable when something happens. That's what is the whole aim. Personally, I'm telling you, I'm just sharing what my approach is. Getting moksha and becoming all that, we have no control over that. If that is to happen, it will happen. At the end of the day, I feel that if you are able to do that, that itself is moksha. What is moksha? Moksha is not a very defined thing. A peace of mind always is moksha. And peace of mind is a state of happiness. That's all. Ananda Swarupa. That's all. That is what we have to do. It's not easy, but we can keep working on it and it works. That much I can tell you. We have to keep working on it. Okay. Righto then, we will close the session. I can go for my
Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om. Thank you.
Hari
Thank you,
Om.
Guruji.
Thank you.
Hari Om Guruji. Hari Om.
Thank you, Guruji.
Next Saturday, Hari Om.